All right, I'm going to go through the final draft stage of putting together the essay for the economics unit. And again, this is due on Monday by the end of the day. And I do realize some of you have already sent it in. If you see any serious issues, go ahead and, take it down and put up a new one. But try to get all these basic elements covered. Now, what I'm not going to be able to do is cover everything in detail, but I'll get it in pretty good shape. And so for most of you, I will cover most of the issues that you might run into, okay? And let's go through it, okay? So let's see where I am. And what I've done is went through the early draft stage, and I don't need to go over that again, where I basically, and it was very important from the start to match my theory with my article. And I used an article that isn't listed here, but you should feel free to use one of these. This is a little bit easier to do. Or if you wanted to get an article from The Economist, you can directly from The Economist, and all of those articles are. And getting the match between the theory and the situation right from the beginning is extraordinarily important, okay? Very important. The theory has what's called explanatory power. It makes predictions, but it is not perfect. No theories in any area of study, whether it be sociology or biology or physics, no theory is perfect. It always comes up against some shortcomings, and it works really well in this situation, that situation. But right here, it doesn't quite. Sometimes they're just plain wrong, okay? And that's very important to keep in mind as you take that theory and apply it to a situation. You are going to, in almost all cases, be refining the theory and explaining the situation. That's what you're probably going to be doing. So you want to make sure you get a good match. Is this a situation where market dynamics and foreign trade are at play? That's probably a Smith situation. Are we dealing with a time when there's a market collapse, when there's exploitation or something like that? You know who that is. That's Marx. That's what he explains very well. But nothing fits right into Smith and nothing fits into Marx. And even today is not exactly Keynes on the collapse of the economy, the world economies, and how should the central banks respond. It's not exactly what Keynes predicted. It isn't exactly what he thought. But it's a place, the actions of the central banks, of the Federal Reserve, of the European banks, or the European Bank, and all these other powers, how they're responding to the situation and to the crisis, and the IMF and others. Those are all really what Keynes was pointing out, that they have a role to play in this. And I do want you to be aware that there are competing theories. These are not a simple matter of Democrats, Republicans, who are just poking each other in the eye. And the truth isn't just somewhere in the middle. Instead, there's another approach that if you go into economics, you will learn about. I don't understand enough about it. It's Hayek's approach. Hayek did know Keynes, and they knew each other, and they did see the world differently. Where Keynes said there was a place for the central government to step in, Hayek warned people against that. And you are seeing some of that being played out in the news today, with government overreach and things like that. Hayek was always horrified by the things that Keynes advocated because he had seen the rise of Hitler, and he saw government intervention as being akin to what happened with National Socialism, and that was basically what Hitler had undertaken. So he saw those akin to each other. Now, but it's more complicated than that. So be aware that Hayek is the other approach out there, and you're seeing echoes of it in some of the news today, the debates over it. Some people who know economics are debating it from a Hayekian perspective. Friedman is, again, he's more aligned and more embraced by people who take a libertarian approach. That is an embrace of really of free markets almost in every circumstance. So Friedman is a very reasonable and good theory to use, but understand that there are other people who do understand economics, like Stiglitz and others, who take a very different perspective, and they do understand the nature of the economics. So understand, in all these cases, there are different approaches, and their theories will make different types of predictions that are highly reliable. Hayek, for example, knew that if there was no adjustment in the monetary policy, it would trigger deflation and the economy would crash. Exactly how Keynes is talking about it. He knew that was going to happen. So it wasn't like Keynes was just making things up. Both Hayek and Keynes agreed on how things would play out. Keynes felt it was better for there to be a government intervention. Hayek thought there should never be. He thought that would interrupt the flow of information from the prices and the market dynamics. So both of them understood what was at play. Stiglitz understood what Friedman was talking about. Friedman, although he didn't get to live and hang out with Stiglitz, he would have understood it too. But they would emphasize something differently. So what I want you to do is apply the theory to the situation and use this explanatory power, but expect it to come up short in some places and need to be adjusted. And that's the lesson I want you to get from this unit, okay? So let me dive in and show you the formatting issues that you might or might not have. Let's go ahead and put it together, okay? So this was the middle draft. And let me get rid of myself here because I'm getting boring. So let's grab, and this is all you're going to do is we're going to move this over. This is our first body paragraph. And all I'm going to do is copy it and move it over. Whoops, I don't want that. I want to go to this one. And I'm in Google Docs is what I'm in. And I'm just going to start pasting everything over. And that's all I'm going to do. So I'm going to stop the camera for a bit, and I'm going to move everything over from the PDF, okay? I'm not going to open up that advertisement. I'm going to go to the PDF, and I'm going to move everything over, and I'm going to come back in right before I move the introduction, okay? So again, all I'm going to do is copy and paste like I'm doing, and this is what I've got on the first body paragraph. And so I'll do that, and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, I'm back, and I want to show you what a mess I've made because this mess is part of getting the essay done. Now, I've pasted all of the sections, and I haven't put them together yet, okay? And I'm going to show you how it can be done. But these are all the body paragraphs. These are all the parts of the body paragraphs. And it's very important to know that there's 4 basic elements to an academic paragraph. You set the context up. That's often, most people know that as like the topic sentence. It often takes 2 to 3 sentences to do that. That's why I don't call it a topic sentence. So to get it done, you need some kind of evidence, and that's almost always a quotation. And then you need to describe that quotation and break it down. And that's a very important stage in the process. I know a lot of students like to just, no, that's obvious. No, well, it's not. You want to show the reader how you're breaking this apart and how you're understanding the individual units of the evidence. And this is important no matter what field you're in, whether or not you're in physics or business or in biology. You want to break it down, the situation, so your reader can see it. And then the final element of a body paragraph in an analytical paragraph is your analysis of it. Why does this matter? So I've got those 4 elements here. I've got the context, I've got the evidence, I've broken it down, and I've got the analysis of it. And I've got that for the 4 body paragraphs. Now let's go through and start making it look like an essay, because it sure as heck doesn't. Look what I got. What a mess. Oh man, Pendleton's gonna be mad. Okay. Let's select the whole darn thing. Okay. And I don't have the introduction up here yet. Okay. I'm gonna get that pasted over. So the first thing is to select everything and make the whole darn thing Times New Roman. Now, Times New Roman, again, is not required by MLA. What MLA says is follow what the instructor says, And I'm telling you, most instructors expect it, okay? It's easier to read. We don't want to use Arial. Arial is actually more difficult to read after a while. So we put it in Times New Roman. And we need it in 12 point. 12 point is required by MLA. Now another thing is, so get Times New Roman in the typeface or in the font and get 12 point and have that apply to everything. And we are not going to use italics. We don't touch that. We're going to use it in the word Works Cited, but don't touch it right now. Okay. Then we need everything double spaced. Everything. Everything. We don't want that one. We want this one. Okay. Let me get this guy out of the way. And double space. So, and with some of you, if you're using a Microsoft Word, it'll say 2.0, but you get it. Okay. Double space the whole dang thing. The whole dang thing. MLA requires double spacing for everything. You don't shift back into single spacing. For some of you, if you're going to be using APA in the future, you're going to use for the reference pages single space, but don't worry about that. Okay. APA and MLA are extraordinarily close to each other. They're very similar. Okay. So I've gotten this all formatted. Now let's put the paragraphs together. Okay. And this is a body paragraph. Okay. So I'm going to indent. All paragraphs are indented. And then I'm going to start bringing the quotation up. And notice I count my lines. 1, 2, 3, 3.5. That's not 4. That's 3.5. So I'm going to put it inside of quotation marks. And I'm going to integrate it. And that's how it's going to be. That's what it looks like. Now, let's bring the description up, okay? And this is the first body paragraph. I have no idea why that is going in blue. Oh, I guess it wants on the workings, but whatever. The attention of government should, well, yeah, whatever. So I've got 3 of the elements together. Let's get the 4th one. This is my analysis, applying it to the situation today. Now that is what a body paragraph looks like. It's got all the elements. It's all put together. It looks like 1, but it's really 4 put together to look like 1. Okay, now let's get the second body paragraph. And we indent, yeah, and it's indented right there. This is not officially an extra return in there, okay? That's just the way Google Docs decided to format it. Now, let me look at this quotation, 1, 2, 3, and a nubbin. This one is also integrated. It's not block quoted. And I put the period after the parentheses. And I know all this stuff is really picky, but once you get it down, you'll see it's no big deal. And this is my analysis right here, so let me bring this up. I don't need an extra space in there. That's my second body paragraph. And that's what I'm looking for. Now, this just happened to be at the end of the page. That's not necessarily where you put it. It just happened to fall that way. Okay. So now I've got the third one. Okay. And this quotation is 4 lines or more. Okay, we finally get a format as a block quotation. Don't you always like those? I always used to like them because I thought they were really cool. I thought it was like the big boys now. And then you select the whole quotation. Again, notice I select, don't do it line by line. Select the whole darn thing. This is easier. MLA is easier than not MLA. And then I go up. There will be some little doodad button thingy like this. It's increase the indent. If you have your line selected, you just got to do this, and you've got your block quotation. That's it. We're done. Okay? All is good. And now with this one, there is an extra line in here. We need to get rid of it. Okay? So notice this is how, and let's bring up the analysis. This is what the body paragraph should look like. It's got the 4 elements. It's still 1 paragraph. The 4 elements look like 1. I've got the the context set up. I've got the quotation. I've got the description. I've got the analysis. And the analysis goes over onto the next page. Okay? Yeah, we're good. So let's do the 4th body paragraph. 1, 2, 3 1/4. That's still not 4. So let's integrate this one. And we've got this down. And once you get MLA down, I'm telling you, MLA is easier than not MLA. And that's the description, and here's the analysis. Now, one thing I'm not going to do right now because we only have so much time, I should be, and everybody needs to be, spending time working through, not just correcting, these little boo-boos, but refining your sentences, refining your ideas, and getting your paragraphs in really good shape. Because almost certainly after you've finished the second draft stage, or excuse me, the middle draft stage, you've got some rough ideas, some rough sentences, and if the sentences are rough, the ideas are rough. But if you refine the sentences, you can get this down. You can. Okay, so spend a little bit of time and refine the sentences. Make sure it says exactly what you want it to. Yeah, and that your hair isn't poofy like mine is right now. Okay. So what I've got right now are 4 body paragraphs. Let's go get the introduction. And look at this thing. This thing's a mess. Okay, so let's go copy this. And I'm going to put it on the front. And notice what I did before. You might remember from before, I put about 2-3 sentences per body paragraph. And I still couldn't spell government. But that's the kind of stuff I'd fix in the middle draft stage. Or excuse me, before we move to the final. So let's copy this. This was about 2 sentences per body paragraph. Let's bring this over to the introduction, to the very beginning of the document. Paste. Okay. Now let's put this together as an introduction. Let's indent the introduction. And again, I know that business letters, they often start at the margin. They don't indent. This is not a business letter. Business letters do that because they're single-spaced and they put a double space in between paragraphs. Overall, that saves a lot of space. Even if you double space in between the paragraphs, you single space the paragraphs, the total savings. That's done in business writing, and it's a very good reason for folks to do that. There's a very good reason not to do it in essays because we're not trying to waste space. And all these little errors are I would catch this by going through, and not just this, but I would go through and read the paragraph more carefully. But notice I'm putting the paragraph together into one paragraph, not into all these separate things. And I should be, I'm not going to do it now while the camera's rolling, I should be going through and evaluating the sentences until they sound right to me, until I think, yeah, that's it. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. And I still don't have a thesis, so let me get that from here. And I remember this was a bad thesis, but I still needed to work on it. But let's take this one as it is. And let's put this as the last sentence of the introduction. The introduction of new technology into the real estate market has followed much of Smith's theory regarding supply and demand as the market has become more productive and increased the wealth of buyers and sellers, but has required some intervention from the courts to ensure competitiveness. And that's an okay thesis. I should refine it and make it better, but I like it enough as of now. Okay. I need to not have any extra spaces between my introduction and my first body paragraph. So notice the way my introduction, this introduction just happens to end at the end of the page. It just happens to. That wasn't by design. That's just, yeah, I didn't put an extra line in there. Okay. So notice this goes straight from there to there. Okay. So that's my introduction. Now let me put all the name stuff in. Okay. And let's put my name. Let's Bugsy McMantle. I'm in Joseph Pendleton's class. And let me not hit double space yet. I'm gonna and it's English 104. And what's the date today? It's the date it's going to be turned in, which is April 27th. And let's go ahead and get that in Times New Roman and have it 12 point. And where'd that double space go? Right here. And let's make it double. There, we got it. Now we're getting there. Let's get a title in there. And that's an okay thesis, or okay title. And let me center it, okay? So I pull this down on Google Docs and do it right here. In Word, they have it up there already. So I center only the title, and I'm going to center Works Cited, okay? But I do need to, while I'm here, is to insert the page number in my name, which is McMantle. So I go to Insert, Page Number. And it works basically the same if you're using Apple Pages, Microsoft Word, or Google Docs. It might look different, but it's basically the same logic. Go to Insert, and then go to Page Number, and pick the upper right-hand corner. Okay? And let's get McMantle written in there. And there, I've got it. And that is something that can drive people absolutely bonkers. But it's so easy to do. So go to Insert, and then go to Page Number, and then get the upper right-hand corner. It will insert the page number. You click on that page number, and then write your name in, and you got it. Life's good. That is basically what it's going to look like. Now we got to get the work cited, okay? And I'm going to have to do my conclusion. This was my fourth body paragraph. I'm still going to have to do my conclusion, which will be my thesis statement plus my main points. That will be my conclusion. I have to restate my thesis and then put my main points about Smith doing this aspect and Smith playing out with that aspect and how Smith plays out. So get your thesis down first for your conclusion, and then summarize your main insights, your analyses. In the introduction, you have to really give an overview of the entire essay. It has more work to do. Because the reader has not covered your essay yet. So you've got to set everything up. This needs to be a more detailed map. This conclusion needs to be a quick little story about where you just went, okay? On what you just learned. That's what it needs to be. So I should add about 4 more sentences of summarizing my analysis. I'm not going to do that right now, but I'm going to do the works cited because you guys are falling asleep. Okay, so I hit Control Enter, and I put works cited. Control Enter, that opens up a new page. And then, let me get this up here. Smith Adam. Selections from Wealth of Nations. Selections from, Readings for English 104. That's the name of the book, essentially, I gave you guys. That's counting as the book, what I gave you guys. The selections from Wealth of Nations, that's the reading. It needs to be in quotation marks. Now, Wealth of Nations, because it is a book, it is in italics within the quotation marks. And then Readings for English 104, because that is a book, it is in italics and followed by a period. Now you can put edited by Joseph Pendleton because I'm the editor, but I really don't care. Let's take that out of italics. You select it again and then hit the I. Okay. The publisher is Victor Valley College. They're the ones who paid for the photocopies. I believe it's 2016, I think is the year. You guys have it on your copy, and it's PDF or print. That's all the information. Now here's what it looks like. Now I know many of you were cussing out your computer and me and everything else because you were frustrated at formatting this, because it's a pain. It is. Let's go through it bit by bit. Now, works cited. Select the works cited and put it at the margin, and put the citation at the margin. Put your cursor in works cited and then center that little bugger. Just works cited, not the listing. And I know many of you are sitting there right now going, oh yeah, nanny, nanny, nanny. I know he's going to have trouble. Here's what you do. You go to the listing, and notice I've got everything here listed. That's what you need. Okay, MLA is very easy when you got it down. Now, if I hit Tab, what the heck happened? And, oh, I put it there. Now let me hit tab again. What the heck happened? It's not working, is it? No, it's not working. Here's what you do. Put your cursor on the second line right there. Right there. Take a deep breath. Hit return. I just hit return. That's what I did. It worked. Bingo. Okay. So let me do that again. Okay. Let me undo those last two things I did. Now it is formatted the way it was. There's no return here. I'm going to go right here, and again, on this beginning of the second line, I'm going to hit enter. Watch this. Ooh, bang. I just hit enter. That's what I did. It didn't put an actual space in there. What it did was put a hard return right here. There's now a hard return right after my first name. Okay? That hard return allows me to indent the second line. And that's what I just did. Now it looks proper. Once again, when you only have one listing, it doesn't really make a difference. But if you have, and I showed you this a long time ago, if you have, and you guys are going to be writing research papers where you have numerous listings, you can see the way this makes his last name stand out. When you have numerous listings, that's what this very odd formatting allows the name. It allows the names to stand out, so it's easier to follow. That's why they've held on to that quirky little method of formatting works cited. So that's how you do it. You guys are set. Get it in by Monday night. But now again, I'm skipping over what I really should be doing, which is tweaking and improving all the sentences until they really ring good to me, until they're insightful, until they're good. Notice I've done all the heavy lifting with the thinking, the writing, the basic ideas. I've gotten that done. In the last draft stage, what you want is to refine what you've already done. And notice just by copying and pasting this over, it looks like an essay, man. I want to send it in. Take some time, get a cup of coffee. Not this one. This one's mine. You can't have it. And go through it carefully and make sure it, boy, this thing reads really well. I nailed it with this. When you've got it there, you've got your essay, save it as a PDF. And let me show you that really quickly here, okay? Save as, you can, let me see, make available offline, make a copy, download. Yeah, download a PDF document. If you're working in Google Docs, go to download and download a PDF document, okay? That will put it in PDF. That's what I need for it to go through turnitin.com. So download it that way. Do the download PDF document, and then you've got it. You've done it. And this is going to be under Smith Buys a House. That's the name of the file. I would give it a name, or else it's just going to be called document. Give it a name, and save it as download as a PDF document. That puts it as a file on your computer, on your desktop. Then you can move that file into Canvas, and that will make your life good, and you can finish drinking your coffee and have a good rest of the week, okay? I hope you're all doing well. Take care, you guys.